So thank you everybody for joining us today. Just to jump into the agenda, we're going to first introduce ourselves and share a brief overview of Clarifruit, and then we'll dive into a live inspection of strawberries and share all the data and insights that we'll be able to gather thereafter. And lastly, we'll answer any questions that come in, so feel free to add your questions to the chat. And I did want to remind everyone the session will be recorded, and we'll be sending it out within the next day. So in case you have a colleague that's interested in watching and couldn't attend, or you have to jump off early, do not fret. So hi, I am Talia Zimmerman. I'm the head of global marketing at Clarifruit. I've been in the marketing tech space for the last 12 years and almost 2 years at Clarifruit. I manage all the marketing for Clarifruit across every region, and I'm thrilled to be hosting this session with you all. So I'll allow the other two speakers to introduce themselves before I continue on. So Todd, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, Talia. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We know folks are coming in globally, which is awesome. My name is Todd Fabek. I work the North American market and South American market with Clarifruit. I lead our sales and our operations team and look forward to showing you what Clarifruit can do today on strawberries in particular. I've been bringing technology solutions to the food and beverage industry for about 15 years now, and thankfully came on board with Clarifruit 2+ years ago. So looking forward to today's webinar. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending. Sebastian Hidalgo. I oversee the operations in North America as a project manager. I've been with Clarifruit for over 2 years, and I've seen the company grow in ways that I didn't think possible. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, thank you both. Great. So before moving on to our overview of Clarifruit, I wanted to first share some really exciting news with you all. We love strawberries so much that Clarifruit has just been selected by Hort Innovation, which is Australia's grower-owned not-for-profit research and development corporation, to help Australia's berry and table grape growers in their quality inspections. So they've established a program that's putting $9 million into 2 companies, and we're thrilled to be one of the 2 companies that have been chosen for this program. And there's a lot to say about the news, but I'll just summarize it into quick points that we're really excited about. So one, it's going to allow us to accelerate significantly our level 3 feature, which is automating our defects. And number 2, it's enforcing the importance of how critical it is for the entire supply chain process to have the ability to automatically detect defects, since this will help completely remove all the subjectivity that's involved in the process, and most importantly, will really reduce the amount of waste that's occurring across the supply chain. So we're really excited about this project and bringing this technology to the market. So stay tuned for more updates. Okay, great. So, let's jump into Clarifruit, and I'm sure most of you are somewhat familiar with us, but just as a recap, Clarifruit is the world's first AI-powered quality management platform that's really bridging the gap of quality communications of produce between buyers and sellers along the fresh produce supply chain. So we're bringing standardization and digitalization to the fresh produce supply chain and really eliminating all the manual work that's involved and removing the subjectivity from quality inspections. So just to summarize, some of the values of Clarifruit, as I just said, we're digitalizing and standardizing the entire quality management process for inspectors and quality managers. So everyone is really in sync and speaking the same language of what quality they're sending and receiving. And number 2, we're centralizing all the data for inspectors in one place. So for quality managers that can make the best business decisions that's based on data in real time, rather than their intuition or their subjective thoughts. And as you'll see shortly, this data includes analytics, reporting, filtering on inspections, on produce inspectors, and so much more. And lastly, we're aligning buyers and sellers along the supply chain in terms of the rejection rate going down significantly, which also impacts the amount of waste that's occurring across the supply chain. And just jumping into this slide really quickly, industry leaders globally are trusting Clarifruit to power their QC. And here are just a few of our partners that we're working with. And we look forward to expanding this list across every point of the supply chain, from growers down to grocery retailers. And so just wanted to jump now to Sebastian, who is going to run through a demo inspection. Go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
10-4.
Yes, you're good.
All right. So we're gonna do a day on the life of an inspector. Using Clarifruit is in general is really easy. Anyone that has any knowledge of how to use a phone can freely operate the system. And as you can see, there's a big green button that we can just go and press new inspection, and we'll go to our produce. Keep in mind that this is a strawberry webinar, so we only have strawberries, but we have over 100 produces that you can freely choose to have on your device, as well as many processes and standards as you want. Right now, we're going to show you the capability of actually reading a QR code right at the top here, and you'll see how, as we read it, oh, all right, we'll be able to fill all the data that we have connected to our ERP system with no problem. We can do that with multiple ERPs, and we're currently a SAP partner, so that's even an easier connection. All these fields that you see here, country of origin, grower, lot number, and pack date, can be modified, and we can add as many as we want. So we'll go to the next screen, and this is the fun part. As you can see, there are dotted lines around my strawberries here, and that just means I have to get a little bit further away, and we can take a picture. We'll even make it a little bit smaller so we can see all, and we can take as many pictures on that as we want. And what that's doing is actually measuring the color and the size of every strawberry that you saw. I took several pictures because with more pictures, we have more accuracy, and we're really, really accurate once you have keep that 3 pictures limit. And we'll go now to the checklist. In the checklist, as you can see, we have 4 checklist items, and this works the same as the properties window. You can have as many as you want and with whatever you want to say. So right now we're saying it meets the standard weight, the truck condition was okay. Let's say that there was no damaged package, but there was a PTI label wrongly entered. I'll just take a picture of this. And in the report, we'll see a PTI label picture labeled. So everyone all your stakeholders can see what's going on in the report. Then we'll go to the next screen. And as you can see, it says ready to scan. And that's because we can connect to our third-party devices like the Atago refractometer that Todd's showing right now.
Yeah, Sebastian, if you don't mind me just jumping in, I hope everyone can see my screen. If your team is using the Atago, which is pretty industry standard, they take their readings on the bricks. And one of the things that we do with the mobile app is have the ability, I hope you can see my screen, of having a third-party device have its data just on an intake. It can automatically go into the app, and what you see on the screen in front of you here is the 3 bricks reading. So you could put it up against the Atago, and it'll automatically populate bricks 1, bricks 2, bricks 3. Thank you.
Okay, so since I'm doing it manually, you'll also see that as I input data, you'll see the grades right here to the right. And I'll just go to 12 and 8. You'll see that each grade is measuring against the standard that it was chosen in the beginning. And Todd will go into that and on how many standards we can actually have. let's take 12. Temperature, let's say 42. And the total weight, let's say was 20. Okay, again, attributes, all the attributes that you want to have, we can have them here. There's no issue. You can add as many as you want. And if you feel like you want that one more bricks, you can always add it. And we'll add just 12. And that's how easy it is. Now we go to defects. In defects, in the top, you can see inspection size. And we'll just change it to our count. Keep in mind that this inspection size can be based off of count, of weight, of whatever you want. We can always set it up for you with no problem at all. And we'll say we'll found one strawberry with mold, and we'll take a picture of it. So right here, and then we go to the next screen, which is just normal photos, and we can take a photo of the webinar itself. And as you can see, the inspection is already done. You can see it in your dashboard live, and you can see why it failed, as well as the diameter, the size group, and the color, which is all information that we got from the computer vision. Why this particular inspection failed? It was because we had a permanent defect that was outside our range of tolerance. Also, this report, I can show you, in the QC report right here, we can see that the report is auto-generated and it's already finished. And as you can see, we have everything right here on our phones that Todd will show afterwards on a computer screen that looks a lot bigger. But our whole report is already done, and we can send it to our notification groups or by any messaging system we have on our phones, be that WhatsApp, email, or any kind of messaging system you have on your phones. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll leave everything else to Todd, which will show
So,
us how the
just
inspection looks on the dashboard.
yeah, tap to complete, and then we can go ahead
Oh,
and see the
right.
inspection. One of the great things about Clarefruit, that real-time auto-generated QC report, we're finding that that's a big efficiency and time savings with the customers we work with. Finish the inspection, auto-gen QC report. And now that Sebastian has basically finished his inspection, I will be able to see the results of that inspection in real time on my dashboard. And I think a really cool thing Sebastian and I could talk to you folks about right now is that computer vision screen, which I'll show you how we measure the size and color of the strawberries on the back end here in a minute. But what we effectively did there by going live on strawberries, like the other 24 produce categories that we are live on currently for computer vision to measure size and color, we've reduced or actually eliminated the necessity for your inspector to use color rings, color palettes, sizing rings, and even calipers. So Sebastian taking those 5 to 6 photographs of the berries themselves replaces all of that, which is another big advantage for objectivity in the inspection and also a really nice time savings. So one last thing before we go over to me on the back end, we have a failed inspection. We know it at the inspector level. And the really great thing about that is I also know that as I play in the role of the QC manager. So we have instantaneous communication about what's going on in the field, multiple sites across your entire organization. So that's not a problem. So thanks, Sebastian. Awesome. And Talia, if you could help me figure out how to share my screen, that'd be great. Okay, share.
Yeah. And I just wanted to chime in quickly that if anybody has questions throughout the webinar, just put them in the Q&A or the chat and we'll get to them at the end.
Okay. classically checking in with the team. Am I sharing the proper screen, which is the dashboard
Yes,
for Strawberry
you're good.
Field? Okay, so
Yes.
Sebastian went out there and he did what he does every day and is keeping an eye on things, and he took an inspection through the Clarefruit app. As we said, we're a cloud-based platform. Real-time data has arrived to me at mission control or air traffic control across the whole QC system. Right now, Strawberry Fields Quality Control Manager Todd is going to take a look at the activity. And I can see it on the dashboard here. I can view data across days, months, weeks, and years to keep track of all the activity at the inspector level. And then I also could view things here on this reports tab, which are going to show. Pardon me for a sec, it'll load. Okay. So why did we have that inspection fail? Sebastian and I wanted to show you how quickly that you could see a failure on a sample, so you could go through a corrective action or an SOP related to that failure. In our workings with our customers and people exploring Clarefruit, we recognize if we give them early information, they can do something about it very, very quickly. So if I wanted to go ahead and, I apologize, I'm not a subject matter expert. Maybe I want to increase the sample size on the inspection that Sebastian just completed. I'd communicate with him to do that, and we can go ahead and continue to work on that sample to see, is that really a failure, or maybe it just is a failure. But ultimately, you can react very quickly because of that real-time sharing nature in our cloud-based system. But ultimately, here's a great place for me to take a look at all the inspections that have been done. And I also get a view of some basic analytics at the top about excellent grade, failures, good grade, percentage of it, permanent defects. This is all configurable for you to be able to see on your dashboard that quickly and that immediately. So now I'm going to go ahead and dive into an inspection 1, 2, 3, 3. And this is where you could take a look at the actual data collected by the inspector through the mobile app. And what's so important about this screen or this view is, as Talia mentioned earlier, data, and we provide you with structured data. So the inspector takes in the quality information in a structured manner through the app, which equals structured data on the back end, which is really important for analytics and reporting. So as an example, you can see here that the computer vision and the AI looked at the berries, and it classified the berries based on their millimeter and where they reside within that sizing range. So there's some granular data for you to view right there. If you need granular data on the bricks, you could go deep on that, no problem at all. And of course, we also do color readings. So that's just a really great view to see what's going on in general about the inspection that's been completed. I'm going to come over here to the photos and show you about how we calculate with our computer vision. As Talia said, we're the only AI-driven quality control solution in industry that equips and empowers the inspector to use our tech in the app in order to have this result. So the pictures that were taken, it is realizing an average diameter of this sample set, and you'll see the data as it comes through on the photos itself. Why is that important? We just worked with a number of our Strawberry partners, and we actually are calculating the shoulders as part of that sizing algorithm. So we're really happy to present that to any Strawberry supplier that's out there. So here are my photographs. And then I'm going to go back to the actual inspection itself. Actually, before I get that, my apologies. So Sebastian mentioned you can build as many processes as you want in Clarefruit. You can have as many quality standards digitized in Clarefruit. I'll show you how you do that in a minute as the admin and manager. But right here is a really great place to take a look at, okay, this sample came back, it's at the quality But where Clarefruit is unique yet again is you could do one inspection and compare that inspection against multiple different standards that you have loaded and digitized in the back end of Clarefruit. And I'm going to show you the comparison report. So I think we'll go back to the one that Sebastian did. That'll be even better. Let's see how that failure ranks out. Let's take a look at Sebastian's. And let's go to the 3 dots in the corner. I'm going to do a comparison. Okay. So what we're seeing here is a very configurable report where your allocation team, your sales team, your logistics team can figure out how to route this sample to the right customer at the right quality. What we have in front of you here is a failure at a USDA level, at a retailer 2 level, and we're at a D level on 1 and 3. So why is that important? This is the view that you could have to know how to, what Talia showed early in the presentation, this is how we help you reduce the rejections. If it looks like a failure, it's going to be a failure. Don't send it to retailer 2. Don't send it to, retailer 2. What that means is there's a possibility of saving you anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 by seeing that it's going to be a rejection and not even having that happen. When you add up all of the work you have to do with rerouting and the size of the sample and everything that you need to do, there's a lot of ROI in Clarefruit just from this view alone. But there's also something else that we do at Clarefruit that helps you even further. So instead of a failure, let me navigate back one more. I'm going to go back to an inspection that had a sample that was acceptable, and we'll go to this inspection here. So we got a good looking sample set, but let's see how it performs against the comparison report. So we're looking at the comparison report, and now you can see as an allocator that retailer 2, good to go. Let's send it to retailer 2, which means don't send it to retailer 1 or retailer 3 because their team sees it as a C grade, whereas retailer 2 sees it as a good grade. This is how we also help you maximize the profitability on the quality of the shipment going to the appropriate customer. So there might be some questions about that is unique to us, and please put them in the chat. We're happy to answer more about that. So moving on, some other usability parts of Clarefruit that are just so critical. Let's go to the specs tab. So everybody saw Sebastian working within the mobile app to be able to do the job he needs to do. And we recognize that there are apps out there for QC, but where it makes us different is this is completely self-serve. You and your team manage your business. We train you and implement, of course, and do all that great work. But ultimately, if your inspectors feel like they don't like that the checklist is second and they want it to be first, this is a drag and drop system. So I can move entire screens around for usability purpose for the inspector. I hit save. Next time Sebastian goes in to do the next strawberry inspection, he's working on the latest and greatest process. Let's say that we don't have enough bricks and we want to add it. So all of our inspectors know, or all of our inspectors will take in 4 bricks readings without even knowing that I've made this change. So I could just drag and drop again. And then I hit save. And again, Sebastian goes back in to do the next strawberry sample, and now he has to do 4 bricks readings, which is great. Down here is a notification group. I automatically already received the results of Sebastian's inspection from earlier in the webinar. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And the last piece of the puzzle is we've separated the process from the standard. So I'm going to go to the standards tab, this is where we replace all of your quality control, tolerances, PDFs, everything that you guys have to do in order to get your folks to make sure the bricks are within tolerance, make sure the size are within the variance range. We digitize all that on the back end. So let's take a look at this and just say from a use case perspective, I need more strawberries to flow through the organization to get to our retailers. You can come to the back end of Clarefruit and you can make a change right here, hit save, and I'm done. The next time Sebastian does an inspection, he's doing it on the latest and greatest quality standard that lives and digitized here. So we don't have to hope that somebody saw the email or hope that somebody's gone off the latest and greatest PDF forms that you folks put out. That gets replaced totally with the back end here on the standards and digitizing them. And this is where we also put your retailers in if you have that information. So let's go to reports. Back to this idea about structured data in effect is structured data out. So Clarefruit gives you an amazing opportunity to filter on the left-hand side, which is a pretty classic way to go get the data that you want to see. You could set up filters that are user, like if I needed my own filter, it could be the Todd filter on a data set. You could set up scheduled reporting that goes out every Friday morning to the VP of sales about the quality of the strawberries for that week. All of that is set up very simply on the left-hand side. You can filter on any data point that resides in Clarefruit. So that's number one. I'm going to turn off this and talk and show you how to change and how quickly it is to change the view on the report that's here right now. As you can see, I'm not showing bricks on this report. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to come to bricks. I'm going to click it. Sorry, folks, there's just a touch of delay. And then you're going to see that the bricks data point has been added as a view on this particular screen or in this particular report. And if I need that to be in another location, it's as simple as that to move things around in Clarefruit and reorganize the reporting itself. So it's all done from the back end. And then the last piece of this puzzle, we work with a lot of clients that have their own reporting software that they feel very, very comfortable with. And an example of would be Power BI. So we integrate seamlessly in real time with Power BI. That's a free service provided by Clarefruit, and no problem at all. If you wanted to take this data and you want to put it in your reporting engine where your team feels comfortable, it's very easy to output the data as a CSV file and upload it to your reporting engine and then work the data from there. So that's not a problem. Last piece of the puzzle, since we're dealing with multi-site companies all the time, this is one view of reporting, one view of the activity of the inspector. Another view is you could look at, have a map view where inspections are being completed. So Sebastian's in Santiago, Chile, doing his great work. And I live on the East Coast of the United States. So you can view inspector activity geographically. You can view it as a list, anything that makes you guys feel comfortable. Clarefruit's very adaptable and user-friendly in that manner. Yes, so one last thing that we're really excited about that we're offering customers is the following. We have a ChatGPT driven reporting engine built within Clarefruit. We call her Claire. And why is Claire important? Well, let's just imagine that we have a VP of sales or a logistics director who doesn't spend all their time filtering on data sets and using the left-hand side of the screen. And maybe they just want to quickly get a view of, hey, what do the bricks look like from this week? Simply come down and let's just say, you could speak into Claire or you can say bricks this week. And you'll notice that the AI generator is going to go to work. Oops, sorry. Bricks report. Okay. Oh, I already have bricks in there. So that's my apologies. So if you wanted to do a quick typing into some basic information, it will pull up what you need to see from that reporting perspective. One last view, QC report. This is what Sebastian auto-generated from the mobile app. This is a better view of it for on a bigger screen. We have master data that could be pulled in from the ERP system at the top, statistical analysis and quality readings in the middle. Here is all the bar graphs that are available to you and customizable to you for sizing, breakdowns, and different view of color and size, the defects. At the bottom of the QC report are all the photos associated with the inspection. So no more email photo attachments. And here's the entitlement on the mold, on the defect. So very comprehensive QC report that's auto-generated and notified to the customer. And to prove this one last point, here I am. Let's say that I'm one of your trading partners or one of your growers. I see that this QC report has come to me, and this is what they see from that auto generation. They have 3 different ways to take in the information. They can click the, excuse me. Right here is what we call the public report. They could come in and look at the data in a very user-friendly manner that's not permission driven. It is literally a public report where they could view the data. And it will be the same thing that we view from our perspective, meaning Strawberry Fields. The second way to look is we pull data out of the QC report and we embed it here in the body of the email so folks could take in the information in that manner, just looking at their screen. And the last piece of the puzzle, they can print a PDF of the PDF report format of that QC report if that's the most comfortable way for them to look at the data. So we know our customers have 3 different ways they like to take in the data on the QC report, so we provide that for them. And as far as QC Inspector Todd, we've cruised across the entire platform on the back end. Happy to answer any questions if they've popped up, and thank you for spending the time on the back end of Clarefruit.
Great. Thank you so much, Todd and Sebastian, for that. We do have a bunch of questions that came in on the Q&A as well as the chat. So we'll get to as many as we can. And we're always happy to continue the conversation after the webinar in case we don't get to all of your questions. So our first question is, can this work with different strawberry varieties, or is it just one variety that you focus on?
Sebastian.
Yes, and the answer to that is yes. Basically, we can work with all the varieties that we work with. We can add them, and it doesn't matter if it's weird strawberry. We can just calibrate the system to detect it. So any varieties you want to add, well, we can add them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And our next question that came in is, did you enter sampling size to your system?
And yes and no. Basically, we had a sample that was 100, but that sample can be derived of weight or count, whatever you want. So there is more complicated ways to add the sampling size. We just wanted to keep it to 100 to make it easier for the webinar.
Great. We have a few coming in into the chat as well. So looking at the size and color strawberries, is there a certain type of devices that's needed to do in the inspection?
That's a great question. What you saw with I know it was a little while ago, so Sebastian was too close to the strawberries, and then there were the dotted lines. And then he backed up a little bit and he saw the blue lines, or what we say green means go. So that's a good usability thing for the inspector. Dotted lines, don't take pictures. Green lines around the strawberries, go ahead and take as many as you want. In order to do that, you have to have a device in the Apple iPhone or iPhone or iPad Pro series, PRO, because that device has what's called the LiDAR lens, LiDAR lens. And why is the LiDAR lens so important, and why have we committed to it as part of our tech? Gone are the days of having to put a reference point in the sample. Formerly with Clarifruit, you had to put a ping pong ball down amongst the strawberries. Those days are over. It is literally as easy as point and click, provided the green boxes are around the samples that it can see.
Okay, great. Another question that came into the chat is, once an inspection is completed, where is the data stored? And is there an opportunity to push the data to other tools?
Sebastian does it all day long, so I'll let him answer that question.
Well, sorry, could you repeat the question? I was just answering someone else,
Yeah.
another
Yes,
person is typing in.
once an inspection is completed, where is our data stored? And is there an opportunity to push the data to other tools, external tools?
Yes, great question. So basically all our data is stored in our AWS servers. We have backups, so all your data is saved. And any data that you want to take from Clarifruit, being your data, you can use an API connection, or you can download it straight from the dashboard, like Todd showed in the presentation. So all your data is with us, but you can take as frequently or as much data as you want at any point.
And if I may, Talia, a further point to that, it's your data, folks. So Clarifruit is a tool, is configurable to help you run your business, but your data is proprietary to you. In the worst case scenario, which has not happened yet, we can return the data to you because it's your data, just to be short and sweet about it.
Okay, great. And how does our pricing model work? Is our next question.
As many processes, as many quality standards, you can build Clarifruit as big as you want from that perspective, multiple sites. Our pricing model is based on the number of inspectors that you want to use the mobile app. And within that consideration, we have two license levels. What we showed you folks today on the strawberries, what we call the pro level, PRO, which is using the computer vision, the AI, and the LiDAR technology. So that's one license for inspectors. But Sebastian made mention something that's really important. The computer vision covers more than 24 produce categories across all of our customers globally. But we have wholesalers that are keeping track and doing quality on over 150 produce categories to run their business. And they don't need to have computer vision on all of their produce categories. So that's a different license. That's called a standard license. So it's just the determination by what amount of technology you want and what your use case is. But the pricing is based on number of inspectors. Per month per year. Apologies.
Thank you, Todd. And just a couple of more questions. How do we handle implementation of Clarifruit?
Well, I'm going to steal Sebastian's thunder because he and his customer success team, they run a fantastic implementation. It essentially, with our implementation, it goes like this. It is a full service implementation. We have a methodology that's built on the following. Please send over all of your sample processes. Please send over all of your quality standards, your retailer standards, throw them to our team. Our team will go in and begin the configuration and the setup of Clarifruit for Strawberry Fields Company, as an example today. And then after we get the core built, we build the original engine, we have a kickoff meeting. And that's when we start the process of seeing, okay, we set it up this way, we configured it this way, what's good, what's tricky, how to refine it. And we work through that process for probably the first month. After that month, when we feel very comfortable with all the processes that we built, and we built and added all the quality standards, we're also training the people that are part of that implementation. So it's a train the trainer approach. Then we move on to kind of a soft launch. Let's start training your inspectors, and let's do some test inspections. And then we start rolling out training as you need be across your inspector teams. And that's basically it. So we have a good plan. We do weekly check-ins, scheduled, and we work through it very quickly. Ultimately, it usually takes about 3 to 6 months, because we like to be conservative, to get Clarefruit fully live. We have folks that have who've gone live faster, but it's just a matter if they're available to, Sebastian and his customer success team.
Okay, great. And we have time for one more question. I have an ERP system. Can we connect to an ERP system?
That's you, Sebastian.
Yes, we can connect to any ERP system as long as they have an API connection. If they don't, we can do a different project, but we can always connect if the pipelines are ready to be connected to. So for the famous ones, we have, well, Famous and SAP that we have already connected to and are working on them, with them right now.
Amazing. Great. I think we're just out of time. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. We hope it was a valuable session, and we'd love to continue the conversation. And having that said, we will be attending Fruit Attraction in Madrid on October 8th. And we'll also be at the Global Produce and Floral Show on October 17th. So if you're around, please do stop by our booth and say hello. And lastly, I also wanted to add that we've launched our SMB platform, which is tailored to small to medium-sized businesses. So up until now, our platform was available only to enterprise companies. So we're thrilled to share that our platform is actually suitable for any team, regardless of how many inspectors or users your team has now. And so, as I mentioned, we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar within the next day or so. So feel free to pass it on to your team in case they couldn't make it today. And thank you again for joining us. Wishing you all a great rest of your day.
Thanks all.